Back after 2 weeks of some technical delays and some scheduling issues, we're back for Magic 8 Ball Pick'em with our two college football experts, JT Brownlee from North Carolina, Greensboro, and George Hill from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. George, I think there's just a tiny little game in Tuscaloosa this weekend, isn't there?
Oh, it's just a little tiny, but the town's already buzzing. Quad was filled up yesterday. They were already putting tents up. CBS was here on Tuesday. It's an electric weekend. Game day's already down here. Pat McAfee's doing a show on ESPN down here. It's going to be a fun weekend. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, for the first time in a while, the LSU, well, they did last year, I think was first time in a while because LSU was down, but you got it back again. It's almost a primetime nighttime game, huh?
And no, it's 6:45 game time. Alabama -3. I'm excited. LSU's a great team, great team. Jaden Daniels is leading the Heisman race right now, and it's going to be fun. I'm really excited for it, and I think it's going to be a great game.
Fortunately, that game's on our slate, so we'll talk about it in a little bit more detail here in a minute. But let's talk first. College football playoff rankings come out this week. You got Ohio State at 1, which I think might have surprised a few people. Georgia falls to number 2. Michigan number 3 with the controversy surrounding them. Florida State. Some people actually think they might be a little low, and then followed by Washington. Those are the 5 undefeated teams. So I'm just kind of curious, George. Give me your 5 in reverse order. Start 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who you thinking where they should be?
You know, I really think that they got the playoff right. But my 5 pick is it's got to be. I'm gonna keep Washington there. I mean, I haven't really seen a game other than Oregon that they've played that has been exceptionally good. So I'm gonna go Washington at 5. I'm gonna bump Michigan down to 4. All that controversy surrounding them is just not okay, and all the stuff and all the evidence is pointing to them sign stealing. So I'm gonna put them at 4. I'm going to put Florida State at 3. I think they are a deserving spot at 3. They've played some really good football. Keon Coleman has led the team. He's a great athlete. I think Florida State should be at 3. My 2, I got to put Ohio State at 2. Um, I just, I, I've seen Penn State. That's it. And, I don't really think that Ohio State's played that key game. Put them at 2. And I'm going to keep Georgia at 1. I mean, Georgia's played too good of football the past 2 years for them not to be number 1 team in the country. So keep them at 1 as much as I hate to say that. But, yeah, those are my 5 playoff teams right now.
Yeah, and Ohio State narrowly, I mean, but for a couple of Notre Dame mistakes, they narrowly escaped. They should probably have one loss. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right,
no, I agree with that.
JT, what you think? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm going to disagree a little bit here. I'm going to put Washington in the top 4. I'm going to put Georgia at 5 because I think Georgia's going to fall this weekend to Mizzou. I'm really hyped for that game. So I'm going to put Georgia at 5. I think Mizzou is a really good team, and I think this is the game that Georgia's finally going to just kind of crumble. I think they're kind of due for a loss. As George said, they are a great football team, but, a loss, I think it's just in their future this weekend.
There you go.
Georgia at 5, and then I'm going to put Washington at 4. Washington's a really good football team. They showed what they could do against Oregon. So I think they're just going to continue to get better. And then from then on out, I think I'm just going to move everyone up just one more. Florida State at 3, Ohio State 2, and Michigan at 1. I think Ohio State and Michigan could be switched, but I think we're just going to have to wait for them to play to really
You got
see
Michigan at 1?
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough.
That's good.
I think they both could be 1, honestly. But once again, I think they're going to have to play to determine who's the best team in the country.
To imagine if that holds true and that comes to that game, and after the 1 versus 2, Michigan versus Ohio State, that'd be the most relevant that game's been in a long time.
That
So
will be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting, JT. I like to see how that plays out. We're going to do this each week until we get there. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and get to our slate. First game on the slate is going to be Notre Dame versus Clemson at Clemson. Notre Dame favored by 3. Okay. Clemson, I wouldn't say shocking loss last week, but a little surprising. And Garrett Riley has not really probably managed that offense, I think, as well as they had hoped for the offensive coordinator spot. So George, go ahead and start it off. What do you like, Notre Dame or minus the 3, or Clemson plus the points?
I mean, this is a tough game. Clemson's a solid program. They are. Don't get me wrong. The record may not show it. They are a great, great football team, and so is Notre Dame. But I'm on call an upset this week, just because all the controversy surrounding Dabo. But I'm going to take Clemson both ways. They're at home. I just don't know if Sam Hartman can walk in there, Tiger Stadium, and get a win. And I think Clemson's due for a win, especially after last week. They should have won if Klubnik didn't pull that ball, which should have been a handoff. But yeah, Clemson both ways for sure. Upset.
Who do you like, George, JT?
I disagree. I just don't think Clemson's that good of a football team. They've been there. They kind of put themselves in game. I said I think they're a decent program, but it still will be difficult playing at Clemson. But I think Sam Hartman will get it done. I think the spread. They'll cover. I mean, I think it's going to be like, they'll probably win by 10 points. I just don't think it's anything crazy.
Well, that's good. You guys are both. You guys are going against each other. You guys are head to head on that one. But George the Eight Ball likes Clemson head to head, and he likes Clemson against the spread. So
There we go.
obviously, if he likes them head to head, so I think the home game gets it. I think Sam Hartman, but Dabo does bounce back sometimes. But I think they got bigger problems at Clemson. I think, and so we'll see where it goes. Here's a very exciting one, an interesting one. Kansas State been flying under the radar a little bit, especially since that loss to Missouri. JT, you like the Missouri team with that long field goal. Texas is still a 4.5-point favorite though at home. All right, with a backup quarterback, but Kansas State is probably one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and this has Big 12 title implications written all over it. Texas has one loss already, so JT, we'll start with you. You like Texas minus the 4.5 at home, or you like Kansas State with the upset?
I do like Texas, but I do got to say Kansas State is a really good football team. The number one Big 12 defense. I think they're going to put themselves in the game. It's going to be close. It's probably going to come down to the last 5 minutes, to be honest with you. But I do think Texas is just a better football team, and I'm going to double dip on Texas.
All right, George.
I would have to agree with JT. Kansas State is playing some really good football, but I don't know if they have what it takes to beat Texas. Texas is a solid team. They're at home, but I'm gonna agree with JT on this one. I'm double dipping on Texas.
All right. Well, against the spread, the Eight Ball likes Kansas State, so close game. And but he does like Texas head to head. So he thinks a close game, field goal, kicks it at the win there, something like that. But I think a lot of people think that's going to be a good game this weekend. So, all right, they've been in our part of the reason I included this one on the spread this week, this Texas A&M Ole Miss game, is there's starting to be some rumors out there that Jimbo Fisher's looking at the hot seat. But I think you're going to hear that for many years to come. But there were some predictions this week that he could be let go before the Ole Miss game. I don't see that happening. But definitely, if he loses Ole Miss, I think some people think they may go ahead and pull that trigger just because, again, I think that'd be 3 straight losses for him after starting off the season and the Miami game. So 4-loss season already. And then that starts bringing making a bowl into question. So, but they're on the road at Ole Miss. Ole Miss 3-point favorite. Ole Miss playing as good as anybody in the SEC right now since that Alabama game. So, George, who do you like? Texas A&M on the road plus the points, or Ole Miss at home is the favorite?
I'm taking Ole Miss all the way. Texas A&M, they have the players on the roster, not the coach. Kiffin said it in a quote this week and in a press conference, and he's not a good coach. Bottom line, Fisher's not a good coach. So I'm taking Ole Miss, and I think Ole Miss is going to win by honestly 14 to 20 points. So I'm double dipping on Ole Miss. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think Ole Miss runs away with it, especially at home.
All right, JT.
Completely agree with George. Ole Miss is just playing really good football. They have a really mean defense, and it's just going to shut down A&M. Jimbo, even he's under a lot of pressure. He's probably scared. That's not going to help him at all this weekend. They're going to struggle. They're going to win by, what George said, 14 to 20 points.
And and the one thing people forget is Texas A&M does have that interim head coach sitting right there waiting in Bobby Petrino with head coaching experience and successful head coaching. Just his personal problems and some of his personnel and employment decisions have come back to bite him. But eight ball likes A&M against the spread. So again, another close game, but I think that's going to mean, and it does. The eight ball likes A&M head to head. So eight ball on the opposite side of that one with you guys. But I do think Jimbo's in trouble. I don't think he makes it through the season. So all right, here's the big one we talked about: LSU, the underdog by 3+3 at Alabama, nighttime game. Jalen Milrose showed some. I mean, it showed some great signs the last couple of weeks, but again, just like LSU, Jalen Milrose seems to have a hard time putting two halves together to make a whole. So, George, we'll go to you second since you're there. LSU or Alabama, JT?
I'm nervous for this one. As you said, it's Alabama wins this game if they can play a full 60 minutes of good football. And if they don't, LSU will beat them. Jalen Miller, he shows signs of greatness that he could be a really good quarterback, and then he shows times where he can't be. And if Alabama wants to win this one, they got to play Alabama football for 60 minutes. I think I will go with Alabama at home, but it will be a really, really close one. It's definitely going to come down to a field goal.
All right, so JT Bama times two. George, do we even ask?
Nope, you shouldn't ask. You already know which way I'm going. Home game. I'm telling you, Alabama's one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and I'm not just saying that because I go to school down here, but they are. Our defense, the last 5 or 6 games, have given up 6 total second half points. I don't see another team in the country doing that right now. And last time the Heisman front runner for LSU, Leonard Fournette, came down to Tuscaloosa, 19 carries for 31 yards. Jaden Daniels, Heisman frontrunner, coming to Tuscaloosa. Not saying history repeats itself, but it very well might. But LSU's a great football team. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I think Alabama's just playing better football right now, and it's going to be hard, especially night game Bryant Denny, LSU to walk in here and get a win. But I'm taking Alabama both ways, and I agree with JT. It's going to be a high scoring game, and I think it's going to come down to a field goal. I really do.
So okay, well, we'll touch on it here in a minute, but let's see what the eight ball has to say. The eight ball likes the LSU Tigers against the spread, and he also likes them
Scary.
head to head. So
That's
you
scary.
guys are on the opposite side of that. But I think you guys are both right on a couple of things. But I think the key to this game. Tell me if I'm wrong, both of you, is try to make you got to make Jaden Daniels one dimensional. If you can stop him from running out
Yeah.
of the pocket. But again, Alabama has some of the best defensive backs right now in the country. Malachi Moore's finally probably fully healthy again. He was still playing a
Yep.
little bit hobbled, one of the best cornerbacks in the SEC, if not the nation. So I think you got, if they can shut down the passing, but I think their best chance is to make them one dimensional by keeping them in the pocket. What do you guys think?
I'm in agreement. He loves leaving the pocket. I think if we can contain him and force him to throw the ball, I think that's gonna be great. And Alabama's 100% healthy. We got a full Alabama squad, full Alabama defense and offense going at LSU's best. And great game. Jane Daniels, exceptional quarterback. I mean, he should be leading the Heisman right now. He is unbelievable. But yeah, it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna, take 2 full halves of football to beat them.
Yeah, in my mind, LSU's going to score. That's just going to happen. They have a great offense. Their killer is the defense. Their defense, it's very mediocre. And as you said, if Milroe goes in there and plays his best, I think Alabama's going to come out on top.
There you go. Well, last game of the slate, and JT, you kind of mentioned it earlier. You got them bumped up as you got Washington versus USC. Washington on the road, -3. This is going to be one of their tougher games. And I think you got to put some stock into that Oregon game. Oregon's playing probably as hot as anybody right now, and they beat Oregon. And I think, but again, you look back at that, I think coaching decisions probably cost, and Dan Lanning admitted some coaching decisions cost Oregon that victory. So I'm not sure they got enough digits though on the scoreboard for this one. So
Yeah.
because they may turn it over. But JT, Washington at USC. Washington is a favorite by 3. Who do you like?
You already said I hinted on it. Washington's playing good football. USC, I just think they're kind of stale right now. Maybe even like trending downwards. They had a really close game with Cal last week, allowing like 500 yards or something, a crazy stat, terrible defense. Caleb Williams, he's scoring, but I just don't think he's playing great football right now. Washington's going to march in there, score, and win. What's the line on that one, George?
3.
They're going to win by 10.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think any shred of defense when you're playing USC, you've got a chance. So, and I think you see what happened. I mean, Notre Dame has a decent defense, and which they've shown all season, and they basically shut down USC, and that was a blowout. So, George, I'm going to assume you're going to agree there.
Yeah, I'm 100% agreeing. I think USC has shut it down for this season. I really do. I mean, they almost lost to Cal, who is a 3-5 team. I mean, I granted it was away, but I mean, and granted they did score 50 points to beat them, but I just don't think that's they have what it takes to beat Washington. So I'm double dipping with Washington.
All right, there you go. And I like y'all's top 5. We're going to keep that going each week, and we'll adjust them. So, JT, what's your you got any bonus plays this week?
Yep. Just because I'm really interested to see how it shakes out. Ohio State and Rutgers. That's my game of the week. Big Ten football. I'm just interested to see what happens. One of the best seasons. I think this is the first time Rutgers is bowl eligible since 2014. So 10 years they have not been playing good football, but they're 6-2. I'm hoping to keep it close. I think it'll be interesting.
So you think it'll be interesting? Are you say it's a bonus play? Are you willing to go so far as the bonus pick Rutgers to upset?
I'll do it. Rutgers wins. Rutgers wins.
Or do you want to say Rutgers covers?
Rutgers wins.
Rutgers wins.
Give them the win. Give them the win.
All right, I like it, JT. Stepping out. All right, George. George, you got a bonus pick? Grey's Anatomy?
Do.
Grey's Anatomy. I hear some Grey's Anatomy in the background. Is that your bonus pick?
Oh, it's definitely playing. I'm taking on my bonus pick for the week is gonna be Georgia, Missouri. I think that's gonna be an exceptional game. It's a 2:30 CBS game, and Missouri's playing some damn good football right now, and they're a little skeptical now. If you watch them play, I mean, they had a great game against Florida, but they're like a little iffy. So I'm going to take Missouri plus 15.5 and then take Georgia money line. I know it's, going against each other, but Missouri could well walk into, their stadium and get a win. And I think if Georgia's going to lose, it's going to be this week. So I think that's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I'm not sure that game against Florida was representative that Georgia's firing on all cylinders without Brock Bowers.
Yeah, that's hurting them.
Yeah.
And I think Florida was a contributor as much to that win for Georgia last week as Georgia was. I don't think Florida. I think this season you seem to not know which are you going to get the Florida that blew out Tennessee, or you're going to get the Florida that
Right.
just doesn't show up. And I think some of that was the Florida that didn't show up last week, and so that was So I think this will be a true representation of where Georgia is without Brock Bowers, and they're also missing. I've had 2 or 3 people that have had that tightrope surgery this year. So,
yeah.
Anyways, all right. So, George, you guys already starting your tailgate?
Oh yeah. We had. I mean, crap. We had a date party last night. We have a band party tonight. It's town's firing, and so will I be. Especially if we lose. That's gonna be rough. But we're having fun down here. So.
And last thing for you, JT, you guys get any snow or anything up there with this big cold storm that's ripped across the Northeast?
Not yet, but it's getting cold, and the people up here, they've been saying that they got a feeling it's going to snow this year. So I'll trust them.
All right, boys. Well, you guys have a good time. Have a good time in Tuscaloosa. George, keep all those players away from your band party tonight. I'm sure Nick Saban will appreciate that. And JT, run fast and run strong, and we'll see you guys next week.
I will. Thank you. See you, George.
See you.
See ya.